Hello and welcome to the Numerology and the Astrology for May 7th, 2020. If you add all those numbers together, you get the number 16. If you add 1 and 6 together, you get the number 7. I believe that all occurrences in life have a grander plan, which is the number 7. One that most of us are incapable of understanding from our limited and narrow viewpoint. Perspective comes from seeing past this moment and becoming aware of how such moments alter the course of many lives, animals, energies, and global occurrences. You cannot see the projection of the future if you are not being totally present in the now. I believe that this world is a symphony, with all the instruments and all of the sounds and vibrations and the composer and all of it working together. And it is something outside this realm of duality that is composing those many parts of our musical score. But as with all music, the players alter the sound, speed, and frequency of that music, so that it is always changing and new, depending on who is playing it and the emotional state that the player is in as he or she is expressing those sound currents. I wonder what we sound like to the divine in this moment. What does Earth's vibration and frequency sound like now? I can imagine that before Corona Land, it was angry, building, cascading sounds crashing into each other in a cacophony of violent emotional expression. But what is it after 2+ months of isolation? I feel the poignancy and sadness of parts of the world where life has been forgotten. I feel that humanity is beginning to feel the despair that they have inflicted on the animals and plants. We are beginning to understand differently because the divine feminine has forced us to look at our egos and heartless manifestations they create. I believe that there is a softness as peace returns slightly into nature, and I believe that a heavy burden of responsibility has been placed on our shoulders that we had refused to carry. Choices and their consequences are becoming clarified. There is so much that we had refused to see or notice. We allowed ourselves to be distracted by the insanity of our minds and believed that was the reality. All those lies now fall apart, and we are left in the realization of our own destructive nature. But this is all good news, because only when you see will you change. Only when you understand the consequences will you wake up and alter your soul's course. The astrology for today. We have a Scorpio Taurus full moon, and it is the third of 3 supermoons happening this year. The past 3 months have brought an abundance of feelings to the surface because of all of this emotional intensity that is uncovered and explored as we have full moons and they come to the surface. Scorpio asks you to go deep and eliminate what you no longer need in emotional areas of your life. Taurus tells you it's time to address the money issues and look at what is really in your life that has genuine value. This moment has really taught us about the things that are critically important and how many things we think are essential and that really do not have as much value as we thought. We are in a time that is about perseverance. Clearly, there are many challenges ahead. Pay attention to the emotions surrounding those feelings. The universe is forcing you to have a massive metaphorical garage sale. You are being asked to let go of so much that you believed used to define you. But now you see that it does not. We are moving into more air now, and because of this, and especially by the end of the year, we're going to have more air. And it feels to me like a breath of fresh air. Astrological air brings with it innovative ideas that can help us globally manifest new dreams in the world. Hardworking Saturn is aligned with the strategic planner goddess Palas, and that combination says that you need to create a battle plan going forward. Saturn will gain traction to those ideals into form in 2021. The nodes of the moon just moved into Gemini and Sagittarius for the next 1.5 years, so there will be many new ideas that need to get moving. We are at the beginning of getting unstuck. Yay! And there is a very long way to go, but at least we finally have movement. Full moons can make you irritated and moody. Disputes can arise and you are going to feel as if you have to fight for your inner peace. Many things will feel difficult and added stresses will come into situations that you were not anticipating. Do your best to read past your own upset and into the situations that others are feeling. Mercury and Taurus sextile with Neptune, so look at how you kind of refine your mental thoughts with keen intuition. We live in a world that is rich with ideas. Use yours to do something beautiful. While it is important to hold the highest ideals for human potential, it is also important to take steps gradually, as there are thousands of steps ahead. Nothing will move quickly, but at least now it is moving. The moon in Scorpio trines Neptune. Use this because your spirit has a bit more spark and can be impressive to others. Activate that imagination and practice compassion at all costs. The moon in Scorpio opposes Mercury and Taurus, and this creates a volatility that can act in ways that are superficial and shallow. Think before you embarrass yourself. Sometimes silence is a better choice. Observe and find a way that is less obvious. The moon sextile Pluto awakens that sentimental side of your soul. You might reflect on the major accomplishments that have shaped you. Allow it to remind you that other adventures await. The moon squares Mars in Aquarius. Some people just want to constantly disagree and argue. Such actions never bear fruit. Threatening people to get what you want takes a bit of your soul every time you use it as a tactic. And it is never worth it in the larger karmic scheme of things. You can use the energy of this astrology today as a cosmic shift of intention. Growth must first come from the ethers of your soul's consciousness. The intangible begins to build up energy and then builds bridges of intentions into future progress. Watch for symbolic occurrences that illuminate things in your life. Consciousness is bursting into feelings, and feelings expand into manifestation. Conviction will show up as tension as it pushes past emotional restrictions and beliefs in the past that are no longer relevant. Do not be impatient. Revelations are coming to catapult you into a new reality. So my quote for today is that last paragraph that I just read, so I'll read it again. Watch for symbolic occurrences that illuminate things in your life. Consciousness is bursting into feelings, and feelings expand into manifestation. Conviction will show up as tension as it pushes past emotional restrictions and beliefs in the past that are no longer relevant. Do not be impatient. Revelations are coming to catapult you into a new reality. My blog for today was a thought that I had actually put up in the numerology, and I just kind of pulled it out and pulled it down. And yes, I am going to tell a story. So I will tell a story after this. So thank you everybody for liking stories. So I believe that our thoughts influence all things, including the winds that circle around the globe. I believe that our thoughts magnetically draw vibrations and energy towards us. Some are unconscious, and those thoughts attract negativity and karmic patterns that are repeating from the past. In truth, we have all done this at various times. But we can also attract divine particles from our intentions that do good in the world and to be kind and compassionate. What you have created now in this world is a combination of your good deeds and unconscious behavior that created less than favorable outcomes. So, what do you want to attract today? And notice what unconsciously comes into the scope of your awareness. And regardless of what arises, practice kindness and honesty, because compassion can transcend it all. So I want to do just a little addendum here because, I know that I have so many clients, and I know people personally that are friends that, that they just have a karmic density around them that is really, really heavy. And I have a really dear, sweet, wonderful, kind, adorable friend of mine that is one of these people. And it's just amazing to me that this is the nicest, kindest person you will ever meet in your life. But she is clearly in this lifetime working through a level of karmic suffering around relationships and finances that is just unbelievable to watch. I mean, like you literally go, oh my God, like if that was me and one more thing kept happening, I would be demoralized. I mean, I would be, just really down. And what always impresses me about her is that no matter what is thrown at her, she will always fall into kindness. It's almost like she unconsciously on a spiritual level understands that that's the only door. And so no matter what somebody throws at her, she practices as much kindness as possible. And, and I've seen other people have this too, that, it's just that no matter what happens in their life, they've worked so hard, they've tried so hard, they've done impeccability to the nth degree, and, they just never get the result. And so I say that because I think there's so many spiritual people out there that have this illusion, and they project that illusion that, if you're just, perfectly wonderful and nice and sweet and kind, and you do all the spiritual practices exactly right, then you will have a perfect life. You will have a great life. And I go, I've been a psychic for 50 years. It's like, I know for sure that is not true. And so, but I do believe that we choose lifetimes to overcome great negativity and suffering in other lifetimes. And so there's a point where we wake up and we recognize that, I have attracted into my life this type of negativity, and do I want to keep doing it? No. So I have to completely alter. I have to stop being angry. I have to start being kind. I have to, really alter my trajectory. And they spend an entire lifetime altering that trajectory. And I do believe that later on that you win. I mean, in another lifetime, you absolutely win from that. Sometimes you don't see it in this lifetime because you have all these people that you have unresolved karma with, and, they caused you suffering before, and now are they going to cause you suffering again? Or are you going to stand in your truth and your positivity and move forward? But if you're collapsing into the negativity, you're attracting in more negativity. And so it's this catchy, tricky thing. And so for all those people out there that have worked so hard to do, very kind things to other people and have still had really challenging lives, I honor you. I bless you. I respect you. I let you know that it will make a difference in another lifetime. And I don't think, like I said in another blog, that we really ever get exactly what we want. I think that we get what is our karmic series of lessons that we need to learn. And so it's about embracing those lessons when they come in, and trying your very best to practice compassion and kindness no matter what. And to recognize that other people have a path that is not necessarily your path, and that's okay too, So, all right, enough of my I'll get off my soapbox now. So, story today. Many years ago, when I was being a vegan vegetarian, I was driving across from Salt Lake City to California. I was actually going to Mount Shasta. And I stopped because, especially back in the where am I? In the 1980s. In the 1980s, let's just say a lot of vegetarian food was not really available. Needless to say, vegan vegetarian food was not available. So I had my own food with me. And I stopped in Nowhere Land, just got off the highway just to eat. And I sat down on this rock and I was eating, and I noticed this giant anthill, this amazing anthill. And I was just sitting there watching the ants, and they are pretty oblivious to me. I mean, maybe they knew I was there because of my footfalls and things like that, but they basically were ignoring me. And so as I'm eating and I'm watching them, a pea fell exactly into the hole of the anthill. And the ants, of course, got excited. And I suddenly looked at it and I went, oh my God, I'm in the middle of the Nevada desert, the high plateau desert. There's nothing green out here. And a pea literally dropped from heaven, like a fresh green pea dropped from heaven. And I thought, I wonder if this is how God works. I mean, what if some of the good things that come to us are God just dropping a pea from his meal, and all of a sudden it lands exactly on us, and we're like, oh my God, it's like this incredibly good thing is happening to me, and, I must be incredibly blessed. And so I had that funny thought, and that is good fortune random to a certain extent? Yeah, I do think to a certain extent it is random. And that's why when it shows up, you want to embrace it completely. But I also think good fortune is something that you attract. So maybe those ants' intention attracted me to stop the car right there and sit down with my fresh green vegetables and drop a fresh pea right in their hole so that they could get really excited and have something really yummy to nosh on. So, maybe maybe the divine told me that I should stop there and give those beautiful ants a pea. So, of course, since I dropped the pea in, I can see them like struggling, because it literally fell in the hole, and I'm sitting there, they're struggling trying to break it apart, right, in order to get it back into the hole, and they were not trying to push it out, they were trying to push it in, and so I left them more stuff. Of course. So I left them more stuff. So I left them more fresh little things. And, I sat there and watched them as they got super excited and grabbed the lettuce and, dragged it into the hole and cut it up into little pieces. And so, I think life is like that. I mean, it's like, can you have compassion for life that you think is less than you? And what if it's not less than you? I mean, what would we do without ants? I mean, really, what would we do without them? I mean, they grow funguses and they loosen the soil, and, there's all sorts of things that ants do. And I realize that we need all of these small creatures on the planet. And so, maybe go feed an anthill today. Okay, that's all. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.